So I thought it might be fun to have a little look between the covers of some of the piles of books here I've got that I work in. So, starting with this one here, look, I haven't even done the cover of it yet. It's just overstuffed and full. Let's have a little flick through. This is a recent journal. It's pretty full now. And I just play with different ideas and experiment, different styles. This was a journey, just expressions, sketching. Sketches end up in here, other collage bits from other sketchbooks. Playing with different materials, inks and gouache and acrylics and pencil and shapes and patterns. Different styles. Paper dolls, that was from a class in the ongoing creative retreat last year with Denise DeFara. A sketch of one of my local watering holes. Painting sketch. Another journey one. These were some of the bits created in the creative retreat last year. This was the one created for Fonda's The Down Deep. As was this. This was for another class I taught. This was from the creative retreat last year. That was from Fonda's The Down Deep. And that was from another class in the creative retreat last year. That was from In the Garden, Flower Studies. Inspired by the beautiful Margaret Preston's work. Another just playing. Another one from the Down Deep with Fonda. And a recent one. So that book is almost full and needs cover, but it may never get finished, and that's okay. This one's more of a sketchbook than an art journal, so I just sort of experiment with different things. I'm just stretching out and playing, and this is just a mixed media Strathmore sketchbook. Often they'll get torn out and used for other things. Sometimes they just stay in there. I have a sketchbook, which is ideas and sketches and trying things and doodling. This one is the beautiful one in process at the moment for the Sacred Arts Workshop. So it doesn't have its cover just yet. Cover in process with our beautiful botanical prints. Beautiful Bhuvaneshwari. This page became a painting. Moon Studies. Exploring all different dialogues with the Divine Feminine in this workshop. So that's a work in progress. Another moleskin sketchbook. This was a sketchbook challenge. This is over on my YouTube channel. Doing a sketch a day. Watercolor. I didn't really like the way this paper took the watercolor, so then I have moved into these Byrne and Stillman ones, which I prefer for sketchbook, for this sort of work. Waiting for spring to finish that one. So in this one here, I just like to, it's not so much art journal as sketching and painting. I guess it's a bit different for me. This was my travel journal from my last trip to Paris and England. So sketches and writing and photos and collage and poetry and random thoughts and dialogues with artists whose work I saw, and maps and various things from a wonderful trip. Beautiful touchstone memory. It's just full of the experience of the trip. A sneak peek into the more recent travel journal, which hasn't been put together yet, but you can see some of them coming together. They just need photos printed and put in, and then I need to bind it all up. A view from a local cafe, Pompidou, the Matisse and the wonderful César, exhibition by Corot, memorabilia from Venice, map of Venice as I know it, sketching. This book here is an altered book, my tarot journal, which I picked up at a flea market and lightly gessoed. I love the texture that gives the book. See, you can see the background coming through a bit. And I've the pages are quite thin, so I've actually gelled medium 2 pages together, see, so that they're a bit stronger. You can see how thin that is to work on otherwise. And with 2 pages together, they're a lot stiffer and less fragile. They're beautiful to work in. A lot of these became paintings. This was a lesson. That one's on my website. Another book that is wanting me to return to. I love to work in these little books as well. These were inspired by Misty Morn, and this one is a homage to Picasso. So all sorts of different dialogues with his work, studies or inspired by his work, and photos of him, his quotes. Another little hand-bound journal. And then this little one is my homage to Clay, whose work I just adore. This one has more to go in it still. It's just lots of fun. One day I will get back to those. This sketchbook is more just for pen work, for pencil work and drawing. This book here was inspired by Ginny Oliver as a pattern book for collecting patterns. So I love patterns, so every now and then I study one or collect one here and put it into this book, which then becomes a great reference. So this sketchbook here is just another little project of doodling in my garden, doodling with the watercolor and sketching different things that I was finding in the garden. I need to get back to that in spring. So just playing with abstractifying the watercolor over the sketches. So it was nice and simple and fun one spring. This is another unfinished book, which was a project for another workshop, Spectrum. And this was the page I created for the lesson I was teaching in the workshop. And then I had a play with some of the other lessons that the other presenters offered. So that was fun. Let's see, never got finished. It may one day. And then doing some of my own stuff. This one was inspired by Peter Doig, whose work I just adore. Ancestors, mandala. This one was an art journal when I was living in New Zealand, and it's very much trying different styles, and you know, I've got photos in it of the kids' diary, visual diary sort of thing, which didn't turn out to be my thing. I don't work that way, but it's definitely worth trying to see if you do. So lots of different things. Again, more styles, trying things out, experimenting, mixing fabric with paper and different materials, memorabilia from the weekend with friends, a page done by a house guest who came for the jazz festival and stayed with us. So again, lots of different things. But this was a part of a face a day challenge, and it didn't get very far. Different styles of a face a day. It's a great way to stretch your muscles. Another lesson, and another lesson. Chagall inspired. Okay, this is the beautiful one I gifted my daughter. And she's given it back to me because, again, another one that's not finished. It's got a plaster cover, antique lace from my grandmother, silk prints, transfers, feathers, slow stitching, dream catcher, letters from the family, my grandmother, lace from her veil. Look how elegant she was, beautiful. Wild Geese by Mary Oliver, poetry, more letters from the family. Page needs to be attached. That's just printed on silk from an inkjet printer. Another travel journal, this one to the States, this way up, covered with, I went to Virginia to do a workshop, and one of the participants had brought in some weaving, which we did at night. So on the way to the States, I went to Sydney, which is my hometown, so I was there as a tourist for a week. Visiting friends, and then to Virginia Beach. Workshop participants. been with my friend Monica, harvesting some sage. Road trip. Aquarium. That's the lesson I taught at the workshop, which interestingly enough works both ways up. Then I went to a workshop at Esalen. Little rainbow beads my friend gave me.